What can I draw using only these 4 colors? I guess we'll find out. This was a drawing that I did for the Game Boy Pixel Jam that was hosted in October 2024. The rules for the jam was to make a pixel art in a 160 by 144 size image, PNG specifically, using one of 4 palettes that had only 4 colors and have a maximum of 192 8x8 tiles. That was a word salad. For this challenge, I chose to use the homework palette that consisted of white, gray, blue, and black, all of which had a bluish tone to them. My idea for this project was to make something that would be inspired by Trinidad. I think I've mentioned before that I may or may not be a Trini. The plan was to make something with a big waterfall in either a foresty or rocky kind of area. I was thinking of wet stones with water dropping into a lake, and a simple shoreline. I took some inspiration from Paria Bay, maybe Gaspery a little also, with, of course, a little character chilling in the lake under the moonlight. The main reason it turned into a night scene was because of the palette. With the different shades of blue, it would be really easy to give this a really serene, chill night aesthetic. Since the size was 8x8, I set up the grid with those dimensions, and since I couldn't just go completely off with the tile count, I decided to keep the image somewhat simple. Somewhat. I focused on having most of the tiles be reflections of each other to keep everything cohesive for the basic setup. One thing I thought could be helpful to making sure my tile count was below the limit was using a tile set layer in Aseprite. Since all the unique items in the tile map would show up in the list, it would make it easier to figure out how many I had, and how many I should probably delete, since it updates automatically. Or at least, that's how I have it set up currently. There are different options, if somebody chooses to use it like that. When I started it, I didn't completely understand what it meant by unique tiles. Probably just a me thing, to be honest. As it turns out, this specifically was talking about Game Boy Studio. Now, someone might use this for other things, but for this instance, it's referring to this program. Game Boy Studio has a way of showing how many unique tiles you're using in an image, or I imagine a tile set, similar to Aseprite's tile map. I've played around with the program a little, but I'm not quite an expert on that yet. As you can see, when I had my environment down to a satisfactory amount, I started adding some asymmetrical parts to it as well, using some parts of the tile map that I had to make new designs on the ground. Case in point, the water at the bottom of the image, a lot of that is just different tiles I had already sketched. I'm just using all of those tiles to make something new. I thought adding some small rocks to the water could help make it look a little less plain, as well as the little ripples that are everywhere. I was gonna add trees, but I didn't really feel like it looked quite right. That being said, I might have added the trees now if I were doing it at this moment. The character I drew was more from imagination, or I guess I should say memory, for different clothing designs I've seen over my lifetime. They're wearing a nice head wrap and some comfortable clothes while they wade through the lake. The idea was to have someone bathing in the moonlight, but I think I like my second iteration for the pose more than my first. Also, I think based on the grid, she's very, very tall. That was intentional, but at the same time, I may have made her taller than I realized. Which is fine, one way or another. I'm happy with it. I wouldn't change it. And this is for me anyways. Now, with all that said, this is how I drew my submission for the Game Boy Pixel Art Jam Trini. My final tile count was 175. So success on that end. I appreciate you for being here, and I hope you all have a great day. Also, please like and subscribe. Bye.